So my name is Christiane Wolf. Very happy to see new faces and some familiar faces here. Some of you I've known now for a really long time, which is really lovely to see that we have these, there's a continuity. Yeah, there's a continuity in practice, in relationships. And I know like some of you dip in and out and you come back, and that's really beautiful. And for those of you who are more new here, it's like, yeah, welcome. Welcome to the dipping in and out. So, and you are so welcomed here. Let's start just by maybe just taking a moment and just noticing like how are you? Like what are you noticing as you're arriving here? The end of maybe a long or busy day, or maybe your day was a little bit more spacious. I don't know. So how are you? Like what is here? Okay, so actually, what I would like us to start is just to do just a little bit of movement in the chair before we settle into meditation. Right. Just so that we can feel a little bit more embodied. If you're sitting on a chair, just move forward on your chair just a bit. If you're sitting on the cushion, that's fine. And then let's just start by just starting to rotate a little bit, right? And these are, of course, just suggestions. And if you just know like a movement doesn't really work for you, please adapt. But what we want to do is, so we want to start to move the attention from out of the head. So where we're just spending a lot of time, like where all the worries live, or where the worries start and then they affect the body and go back into worrying and all of that. So let's just like come to something that is feelable right now, that you can sense. So you can sense your sit bones and just start to notice like this, like can be very small rotation. Notice how that lands in your system, if your body likes that. And then reversing that movement, just moving in the other direction. And really, we want to keep coming back to something we can feel. That part is really important in our meditation practice. Yeah, so that's actually what we do when we come back to the breath, or we come back to sounds. Or when we do body scan, we come back to body parts. We come back to sensations. And we come back to sensations that feel safe enough and that don't feel overwhelming. Yeah. So if this stirs up pain in your body, that's not the point. So then you wouldn't do that. Yeah. All right. And then coming into stillness. And then for us who are sitting on a chair, bringing the awareness into the feet. If you're sitting on a cushion, you can bring the awareness just where there's contact with the ground. And then for those of us on the chair, just start to just like move your feet a little bit. So like lift your toes, lift your heels just a little bit. And again, like staying with the sensations. And for you on the floor, you can just like make like very small movements with your, like you can maybe move your toes or move your ankles a little bit. But again, we want to keep coming back to the felt sense. And also kind of really, excuse me, feeling where the feet are in space right now. So really knowing these are my feet. These are sensations in my feet right now. All right, and then last thing, now moving to your hands and just starting to just gently like rub your hands. in a way that it feels nice and it feels supportive. You might notice your hands are cold or warm. And again, really staying with the sensations. And if it's helpful, you can tell yourself, these are my hands. This is where my hands are in space. Yeah, sometimes when we do that, we feel a sense of relaxation in the body, or we start yawning. Breath might get deeper. And then when you're ready, then you can settle into your meditation posture and settle into stillness. So find a posture that is supportive. Just doing some more micro adjustments to find just a good posture for you. That feels stable and that feels as safe as possible. And then we'll start. So with the meditation, first just settling with an anchor. And then towards the end of a meditation, so we'll meditate for about half an hour, a little bit more. There will be a little bit more guidance around the topic of equanimity. So just noticing right now, if you maybe feel a little bit more here, a little bit more present in your body, just through the bit of movement that we've done. And then we want to land on an anchor. An anchor is a sensation that helps us to stay here, and that helps us to stay steady, and it keeps us secure. That's what an anchor does. And for many of us, that is the breath. But if feeling the breath makes you more restless or anxious for whatever reason, then choose a different anchor, because it is not about the breath. So you could choose sounds. You could choose just staying with the contact spaces, so the feet, the hands, the legs. And if you're using the breath as an anchor, then just maybe for these next few rounds, making the breath a little bit longer and deeper, so you can really feel the breath. You really connect with the breath. So it's really an experience and not thinking about the breath. And it can be helpful, especially at the start of a meditation, especially when you feel quite wired or tired, to just imagining just releasing stress and tension on the exhalation. Just handing it over to the earth. And then in your own time, just letting the breath flow naturally. And it's almost like you're leaning back a little bit and just letting the breath flow. And you keep it company with your attention. And then, as part of your meditation, you will notice the mind will just wander off, usually into thinking, planning, rehashing, fantasizing, worrying, all these things. And you get to decide. Do you need to do that right now? And if the answer is no, you come back to your anchor, even if it's just for a brief moment. So we're not trying to achieve anything here or reach a state or something, but we're setting the conditions so that the heart and mind can settle itself. If it is helpful for you for just support, you can always place a hand on your heart. Sometimes, especially when you feel a little bit tender, a little bit wobbly, and to just offer yourself some physical kindness, just like I'm here. We got this. And please keep coming back to a sensation in this moment that feels stable, that feels safe enough, that anchors you back here into this room or where you are in this moment. Letting this here feel more real than where your mind is going. And sometimes it can be helpful to just open your eyes for a moment to really remind yourself you're here. This is real right now. And just gently keep coming back. Really practicing letting be whatever your mind is busy with right now. Promise won't go away forever. Just practice kind of releasing your grip, just like you would open a closed fist, just like let it be and come back to sensing your anchor. And keep doing that. Staying soft, staying gentle. There's nothing to push or to force. Just being here. So now for the last part, short part of our practice, if you want, so you can either just continue what you have been doing, or if that feels right to you, you can choose something that you have a hard time with. Don't choose the hardest thing right now. And so we want to practice some principles and not overwhelm your system. So just something that is more like an irritation or an annoyance, or something where you have some maybe feelings about, but you're not directly affected. So just choose something that feels workable today. And then first of all, so be very clear what your anchor is. So what's kind of your safe place or stable place, and know that you can always come back to that. So part of the practice is often to pendulate, so to kind of feel a little bit into the upset, or just like where the upset or the pain starts. We can also do that with physical pain, by the way. And then we come back to our anchor. Yeah, like giving a very clear signal to our body. We're not going like all the way into the center. We're not aiming after overwhelming the body or the system. So pendulating, always an option. You can always open your eyes. That's usually it's just helpful to just remind you like, oh, I'm actually here. And then just noticing, so see that usually what we're upset about has a story part, the who, did, what, to whom, when, all of that. And then it has a emotional component. How does that make me feel in this moment? And that is something that we can track as a sensation or as sensations in the body, just like we have been doing all meditation long. So you can, again, choose something that's not too big, and then just notice, where is that showing up in my system, if at all? Or is that really just in my mind? And if it's just in my mind, how does that feel? If it's in your body, do you know where is it showing up? So are your shoulders tight? Do you feel it in your face, in your belly? And then can you be curious? So instead of just trying to get rid of it or getting away from it, can you just be curious? It's like, where actually is that? How is that? How and where is that showing up? Remember, you can always come back to anchor. If there's a lot of energy, it can be helpful to imagine like creating like space around it. Like where, like the image of like a wild horse needs a big pasture. So create a big pasture, a big paddock around it. So it can do what it needs to do, but you keep it safe. And remember, you're not the horse. You're the observer. If it is helpful, you can also label or name it. It's like, well, there's like heat in my arms, or there's tightness in my chest. And just as best as you can, allowing it to be here. Giving it space. Letting it do its thing. And at some point, you'll notice something has changed or shifted. Doesn't mean it's gone. Sometimes it gets bigger, but sometimes it shifts into something else. And then seeing if it is maybe possible as you're giving this, whatever is here, permission to be here, to either say to yourself or like feel into that state of like, it's okay that it's here, or this makes sense that it's here, and it's okay. Or even if it doesn't make sense, you can still say it's already here. And right now I'm allowing it to be here. And then we're slowly bringing this part of the meditation to an end. So when the time is good for you, then just come back to your anchor. Releasing all concepts, all thoughts. And just being with your anchor for another minute or so. And then we're slowly coming to an end of this practice. So allowing movement back into the body.